For this pattern, we will be doing a 5-row repeat. Basically what that means is we're going to be repeating the same 5 rows until we get the size that we need. I'm going to be using Friends Cotton Silk, which is a cotton silk blend. It's so soft and squishy. It is a size 3 lightweight yarn with a 4mm hook. You can use any yarn you want. The sizing might be a little different, but really you can just measure however the size that you need and you should be good. So for this pattern, basically what we're going to be doing is making 4 panels, 2 for the front and back and 2 for the sleeves. And then after we're done making our panels, we'll do a little bit for the shoulders to connect them, just to add a little length so we can do our neckline. But basically, as long as you get these 4 panels, we'll seam them together and then we'll have our beautiful sweater. So you'll want to get out your measuring tape. First, want to measure our bust. So measure around the largest part of your chest and then take that number, add 10 inches. So because we want to have a little bit of ease in our sweater, and then divide by 2 since we're going to be making 2 panels. So mine came out to be 24 inches. So that's going to be how long we start with our chain. And chain however many you need to get to 24 inches. And then we're going to be making sure that we're doing multiples of 7 for our starting chain, since that's what's going to be what our pattern uses. So for my bust and my 2 panels, I chained 91. Yours might be different just depending on your measurement. And then for my sleeves, I chained 56. Basically what you want to do is measure the largest part of your arm, add a few inches if you want it to be more loose. It depends on the kind of fit that you want. I had mine fairly tight up towards my upper arm, and then it just is a straight panel, so it gets more loose down by my wrist. That's kind of the style I'm going for. If you want yours to be even more loose, then you can make yours bigger. But overall, my starting chain for my 2 panels, front and back, is 91, and my sleeves is 56. You just want to make sure that it is a multiple of 7. So each panel is going to start out the same way. Start by making the chain as long as you need according to your measurement that we went over. Mine I'm going to be working on is the sleeve, so I'm going to chain 56, but chain however much you need, and then the pattern after this will all be kind of the same for each panel. Okay, so I have my chain in multiple of 7. Mine's 56. Now we're going to start by doing a row of double crochets all the way across. And we're going to start by doing a chain 2 as our turning chain. 1, 2, and then start your double crochet in that 3rd chain from the hook. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So that's how we make our double crochet, and you're just going to do this in each chain all the way to the end. So again, yarn over, insert your hook, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So just double crochet all the way to the end of your chain, and I will meet you at the end. Okay, now I'm getting to my last stitch. We're going to do a double crochet. Now we finished the first row of our panel. To go to the next row, we're going to do a chain 2 and turn your work. Now this next row is going to be the first row of our 5-row repeat. And what we're going to do is we're going to double crochet in every stitch all the way across. Basically exactly what we did in the first row. So to do that, again, yarn over, insert your hook into the first stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And then just continue doing a double crochet in each stitch all the way across until you get to the end of your row. And once you do that, I will meet you at the end of the row and show you how we'll start the next row. Okay, I'm at my last stitch. We're going to do a double crochet in the last stitch. So your project should look like this. Now we're going to chain 2 and turn. Each row will end with a chain 2 and turn. Now we're going to start our heart shape. So to do that, we will start by doing a double crochet into the first stitch. Our next stitch will be a half double crochet. To do that, you yarn over, insert your hook, pull through, yarn over, and then pull through all the loops. Next stitch will be a single crochet. So insert your hook, pull through, yarn over, and pull through all the loops. The next stitch is going to be a slip stitch. So you just yarn over and pull through all the loops. Then we'll do a single crochet, a half double crochet, and then a double crochet. So you can see it's starting to make the bottom of our heart shape. We're going to do alternating between a heart and then just a solid block, and then a heart, solid block, and so forth. So our next 7 stitches will be double crochet. So double crochet into the next 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now we're going to do another heart block. And to do that, remember, you'll do a double crochet, then a half double crochet, single crochet, slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, and then another double crochet. So here's what our repeat is starting to look like for this row. You can see we have 2 hearts starting to form and then a solid. So continue going down the row doing 7 double crochets and then the heart. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now to do the heart, you do a double crochet, a half double crochet, a single crochet, a slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, and then a double crochet. Okay, so just continue down to the end of the row, and once you get to the end, I'll meet you there. If you need to rewind the video, go ahead, feel free to do so. We're just going to repeat the same pattern all the way down to the end, and then once we get there, I'll show you what to do for the next row. Okay, now we got to the end of our row. We're going to do a chain 2 and turn, and then we will start our row 3 of our 5-row repeat. Now take a look at where your project left off on for this row. For example, you see there's like a little dip here, that's where the heart is, and then I have a solid section of double crochets. So I ended off with a solid. That's what I'm going to call it. If you ended with a solid, then follow along here. If you ended with a heart, then wait till I get 7 stitches and I'll show you how you start your repeat. Basically, we want to do solid on solid and heart on heart. So I'm going to do 7 double crochets since I ended with the solid section. Four, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then now if your section ended with a heart, this is how you're going to start. And then if you have mine, like mine, then just continue going. You're going to start with a double crochet in the first stitch. Now we're going to form the top of our heart, and to do that, we're going to do a chain 2, 1, 2, and then a picot, which is essentially just 3 chains and then a slip stitch. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to want to slip stitch into this first of the 3 chains that we just made. And it's usually with a picot you go in this way, but for this pattern we're going to go in backwards. So I'm going to take my hook and kind of go backwards like this, and then I see my 3rd chain is right here. So I'm going to insert my hook here and then yarn over and pull through. And basically what that does is make my picot face down so I can make my heart shape. And then finish off by doing a chain 2. And then we're gonna skip 5 stitches on the bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're gonna make our next stitch into this stitch. And we're gonna do a double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull through 2 loops, and then pull through 2 loops. So I'll show you. This is going to be our heart shape. It's not that hard, I promise. We're going to keep practicing. So now my next section is solid. So I'm going to do 7 double crochets. Now my next section, I'm gonna need new yarn here soon. We're gonna do the top of the heart. So start off with a double crochet. Let me change my yarn, I'll be right back. Okay, so we start off with our double crochet. We're gonna chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're gonna do our picot. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're gonna take our hook and go through the back of that first chain of the chain 3. So we're gonna come in through the back. I just go through the bottom loop, yarn over, and then pull through, and then do a chain 2. And then we're gonna skip 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then double crochet into that next stitch. Okay, and now I have solid section, so we're gonna do 7 double crochets. I'll show you one more and then I'll let you continue this row until you get to the end. This is the hardest row, but it's really not that hard. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we're gonna do another heart. So to start, do a double crochet, chain 2, do the picot, so chain 3, 1, 2, 3, coming through the back of that first chain of the chain 3, yarn over and pull through, chain 2, skip 5 stitches, and then do a double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Double crochet into the stitch, and that finishes our heart. So continue doing this all the way till you get to the end of the row, and then I'll show you how we do the next row. Okay, so now I got to the end of my row. Mine ended with a heart, so I have 1 double crochet on the end. What we're gonna do now is chain 2 and turn. Now for this row, we're going to double crochet into every stitch, including each chain and the picot, and we still should have our multiples of 7. So start by doing a double crochet into that first stitch. If yours is the solid section, then just double crochet 7, and then this is what you'll do when you get to the heart. Double crochet into each chain. So remember, there's 2 chains, a picot, and then 2 chains. So you should have 5 double crochets right here. I just go into the top of each chain. Two. The picot I go into, if you can see, there's kind of like a long chain right here. I go into that one. And then there's 2 more chains. Double crochet into those. And then double crochet into the last double crochet. So you can see our heart looks like a heart. So cute. And then we're just going to continue and just double crochet all the way across. So this is a row just entirely of double crochets, making sure that you double crochet into each chain and to the picot all the way across. And this is going to be row 4 of our 5-row repeat. So then I'll show you the last row, and then basically all you do is just keep repeating these 5 rows until you get the length that you want. Okay, so now we're going to go into the chains. Here's the picot. So you can kind of see there's this chain right here. That's the one I'm going to go into. Making sure that the picot is still pointing down, so it can give us our heart shape. And then double crochet into the last 2 chains, and then into each double crochet. So this is what we're looking like. Go ahead and continue your row, and then I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so that's the end of our row. I'm going to show you the last row of our 5-row repeat. We're going to start again with a chain 2 and turn. And this row we're going to do a double crochet mesh across the top. Start by doing a double crochet into that first stitch, and then we're going to chain 1, skip 1, and then double crochet into the next stitch, and repeat that all the way down. So chain 1, skip 1, and then double crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet into the next stitch. So it should be looking something like this. You're going to continue doing this all the way down the row, and I'll meet you at the end of the row. Since my starting chain on this panel was an even number, we're going to have an extra double crochet at the end. If yours is an odd number, like my body panels were odd numbers too, then you're going to have it'll end perfectly on a double crochet, and I'll show you what I mean when I get there. Okay, so I'm getting towards the end of this row. So double crochet, chain 1, skip 1. You see how I have 2 stitches left? So if you started with an even number of your starting chain, you'll have 2 stitches left. So when you get to that last stitch, just do another double crochet in there. We'll seam this side up so you won't be able to really tell. And again, if you started with an odd number for your starting chain, then yours will just end perfectly. So that's our 5-row repeat. We're going to start the next row doing chain 2 and turn, and then we're going to repeat basically from our double crochet row up, and then just continue all the way till you get to your panel. So for our next row, what we're going to do is just double crochet in each stitch across including each chain space. So to do that, double crochet into the tops of each double crochet stitch. When you get to a chain space, just double crochet inside of the chain space like that, and then continue on for this row all the way to the end. And then the next row I'll show you how to start depending on where your heart ended off, so we can alternate, and I'll show you what I mean. So finish this row off and then I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so I'm at the end of my double crochet row. We're going to chain 2 and turn. And then this is where I start to alternate my hearts. So kind of go back and look at your section. Mine starts with solid, heart, solid, heart. So for my next section, I want it to be the opposite. So I'm going to do heart, solid, heart, solid. So I'm going to start off by doing the bottom of my heart. And remember, that's double crochet, and then half double crochet, single crochet, slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, and then double crochet. You can see I'm going to start doing a heart here, and then this section is going to be solid. So 7 double crochets, and then repeat the heart. So go ahead and repeat that. If you need to rewind the video to go back to our row 4, which is actually the 3rd row of our repeat, go ahead and do so. And then continue this pattern, alternating with your hearts whenever you start the new repeat, and then until you get the length that you need. So here is my sleeve section done. This is what I was talking about earlier, of how I'm alternating rows between heart, solid, heart, solid, heart, solid. And then if you can see, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 repeats of these heart sections to get the length of the sleeve that I want. If you want yours longer or shorter, you could stop wherever you want. So this is how many I did for my sleeve. I also have my panels done. So this is my front and my back panel. This one I started with a chain of 91. Remember, multiples of 7. And then I alternated heart sections each time until I got the length that I wanted for my panel. Now I want to show you how I started this panel. So let me just pull out one. So you can see if you want to do the same for yours. Okay, so when I started this panel, I started off with the heart section, and it ended also with the heart section. Now I want to alternate that section on my back panel, so when I'm wearing it, it doesn't just immediately start with another heart right here. So that might be something to keep in mind. So for my back panel, you can see I started off with a solid section, and it also ends with the solid section. That way when I'm wearing it, it will continue the pattern pretty seamlessly. And I'll count how many I've done for these front and back panels. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows of hearts, ending off, you know, with the double crochet and the mesh stitch. So if you want to have yours the same size as mine, you can do your panels, the front and back panel, with 7 repeats, and then my sleeves are 8 repeats. So once you have your panels done, I'll show you what we're going to do next. So once you have your panels done, this is my front and back panel. If you have stitch markers, go ahead and see if you could kind of stitch them together where you want your neck hole to be, and then you can go try it on and make sure that your head fits through. So that's what I've done. Now we have a few inches on the side. We're going to add kind of like a little shoulder panel to the top, just starting off one end, and then we'll seam it to the other end. So go ahead and attach your yarn to where you want to start your neck hole and your shoulder seam, your shoulder panel at. We're only going to do a few rows here, and then make sure you count your stitches so you can remember where to add it on the other side. Chain 2 to start, and then I'm going to double crochet into the same stitch. Now I'm going to do another set of mesh stitches here. So chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet into the next stitch, and then just continue down this row until you get to the end. Okay, so this is where we're at. We're going to chain 2 and turn your work. Now I'm going to start doing double crochets all the way across, starting in the first stitch and then in the chain spaces. Just like this. Now when we get to the end, I have a chain space and a double crochet left. What we're going to do is double crochet 2 together right here. And to do that, you just yarn over, insert your hook into the space, pull through 1 loop, and then insert your hook into the top of the double crochet and pull through. Now you should have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the first 3 loops. Now you should have 2 on your hook, yarn over, and then pull through. So we're kind of doing a little decrease here. Now what we're going to do is chain 2 and turn. Now I'm going to do a double crochet 2 together in these next 2 stitches again, so a decrease. Doing the same thing, insert your hook into both of those, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and then double crochet in each stitch across. And do this all the way till you get to the end. Okay, now I'm at the end of my row. We're going to chain 2 and turn. Now for this row, we're going to do the same thing, just double crochet all the way to the end, and then at the end we'll do an increase. So double crochet in each stitch all the way across, and then once you get to the end, on the last double crochet, you're going to add 2. So I'll meet you over at the end. Okay, I'm at my last double crochet stitch. So I'm going to do a double crochet in that stitch, and then I'm going to do another double crochet in that same stitch. So we have sort of an increase, chain 2, and turn your work. Now we're going to do another double crochet increase into our first stitch. So double crochet, and then do another double crochet into that first stitch, and then double crochet in every stitch across. Once you get to the end, I'll show you how to do our last row. Okay, so I just finished that row. Now for our last row, we're going to do the mesh stitch again. So chain 2, turn your work, and we're going to start with a double crochet in the first stitch, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next stitch, and then just do that all the way across. Once you get to the end, you can fasten off your yarn. I recommend leaving a tail that's about the same length as this, so you can use it to seam it together, but it's up to you. Oh, I messed that one up. Forgot to do a chain and a skip. So just continue this down on the row. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. Okay, so here's my shoulder little panel. I'm going to fasten off my yarn with about a tail that's this long, so I can use it to seam up later. Just pull through. So there's the shoulder panel. We're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Make sure you count your stitches. Mine was about 27 stitches across. So I'm going to get this panel where my neck hole was. This is kind of where I estimated it. I'm going to make sure that I count 27 stitches, and then that's how far I'm going to go. So go ahead and repeat that for the other side. Okay, now that I have my panels lined up and my stitch markers in the right stitches, I'm going to take my long tail and go ahead and seam this together on both sides. You can seam it any way you prefer. I'm going to just go through both loops. So I'm going to line up my 2 panels. I'm going to go through my first loop, and then I'm also going to go through where my stitch marker is, since that would be the same amount of stitches on each side, just like that, and pull through. Now I'm going to do the same, go through the first loop and the second loop on each panel. So I'm going through this stitch, and then I'm going through the same stitch on the other panel. So I will keep going this down this side. I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll just repeat the same thing on the other side. Make sure that you're pulling it tight, but not super tight where it distorts your stitches. Okay, I'm on my last stitch. I'm gonna go through this stitch twice, just because I think it makes it a little bit more secure. Okay, so now it's seamed together. I'll show you what the other side looks like. So it's pretty seamless. You can't really tell that we just stitched together right there. Super pretty. So do the same thing on the other side. And then after that, we will seam together our sleeves. So I'm just gonna get my other side, the long tail that I cut, and put it on my needle. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna start at the edge this time, since that's where my tail is. I'm gonna line up my 2 panels. I'm gonna insert through the first panel in the loop, and then the same loop on the back panel. Pull through, and then I'm gonna go into the next loop on the front panel, and the next loop on the back panel. Pull through. And then I'm going to continue doing this until I have all the stitches, and it should end off on this stitch marker. So just continue doing that on both of your sides, And then after we're finished with this, we will seam the sleeves on. And then after the sleeves, we'll do a little bit of finishing details, and then we're done. So now we have both sides seamed together. Now let me show you how we're gonna do the sleeves. So we're gonna want to attach our sleeves right in the middle right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remember how many stitches I have in my sleeves. Mine are 56. So I'm gonna find the middle, and then I'm gonna attach it to the middle of where my shoulder is. And then I'm gonna find the stitches on the top and bottom of my sleeve and attach it to those stitches, just so I can know where to start and stop. And then we're gonna seam both of the sleeves together the same way. Okay, so we're gonna be seaming along the sleeves right here. Notice we're seaming along the raw edge. So each side has a double crochet. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put 2 stitches into each double crochet, so it kind of lines up. So like I said, my chain for my sleeve was 56, so I divided by 2 is 28. And then I'm gonna do 2 stitches in each row. So this is where my stitch markers are, and then do the same for the other side. So I'm gonna cut a piece of yarn that's about a little bit more than the length of this, so we can have some extra to work with. And this is what we're gonna use to seam our sleeve together. So I'm going to seam together kind of how we did the shoulders, except this time I'm just gonna have to go through the double crochet, and then I'm gonna go through the top of the loop here, pull through. I'm gonna leave a few inches, and then I'm gonna do another one in that same stitch, just because I think it makes it a little bit more secure. And then I'm gonna do the next loop in that same double crochet on the side of it. Just like that. I can make sure this got stuck. Okay, just like that. So I'll show you a few more. So here's the next double crochet. So we're gonna put this with 2 loops over here, 1, 2. This is called a whip stitch. It's really easy. It's one of my favorite ways to seam if I'm using a needle. So I'm gonna put the same double crochet into the next stitch and pull through. Okay, so now I'm on my next double crochet. We're gonna work in the side of it and my next loop. And then you're just going to repeat this process all the way until you finish your sleeve. And then we'll do the same thing on the other sleeve. Okay, so now your sleeves should be seamed. They look like this. Now let me show you how we're gonna seam the rest. So fold your sweater over now, and you're gonna wanna have the outsides facing out and the right sides touching each other facing inwards, so we can seam along the sleeve and down, and then again on this side along the sleeve and down. So I'm going to take my yarn. I'm gonna cut a really long piece now, since we're going down the sleeve and the body. Basically, I'm gonna cut a piece that's about double that size. And then we're gonna seam the same way as before. I'm gonna do 2 stitches on my seam along each sideways double crochet on each side. And then we'll do that all the way down. So we're gonna work up the body this way, and we're gonna turn and then go all the way up the sleeve. I'm going to start at the very end on this double crochet. I'm going to pull my yarn all the way through and leave just a couple inches to weave in at the end, and I'm going to go through that same stitch again just to make it more secure. And I'm going to move on, and I'm going to do another stitch in this same double crochet. Got my yarns tangled up. Okay, so now I'm going to go through my next double crochet. Make sure I'm doing the same row on the other panel. So I line up. So I'm on the second row, so I'm going to go through this double crochet and the same one on the back panel. Now I'm going to go through the next double crochet, make sure I'm on the same row on the back panel, and then just continue doing this all the way up the body and down the sleeve, and then repeat for the other side. We're going to finish off with a little bit of detailing around the neckline and the bottom of our sweater and the bottom of our sleeves. I'm going to do just a single crochet stitch around the neckline. I think it just helps it give a more finished look. So I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to attach my yarn to the middle of the neckline. So I have 4 double crochet rows right here. I'm just going to attach right here. And then I'm going to chain 1 and do a single crochet. And then in each of these sideways double crochets, I'm going to do 2 single crochet stitches. So there is 2. Let's see. 1, 2, okay. And then here's another one. So I'm going to do 2 single crochet stitches in here. And then I'm going to start doing a single crochet in just the stitches on the neckline. And then just go all the way around your neckline until you get back to where you started, and then end off with a slip stitch. So I'm back around. I'm just going to slip stitch to my first single crochet and then fasten off my yarn. So I'll show you what mine looks like now. So here's the neckline. You can see it just looks a little bit more finished this way. And now I'm going to show you how we're going to add this detailing. I have this beautiful picot detailing on the bottom of our sleeves, and we're going to add it to the bottom of our sweater as well, and I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to start by attaching your yarn. I'm going to attach mine at the join right here, and then I will do a chain 1 and then a single crochet into the same stitch. Now I'm going to do 3 more single crochets into the next stitches. Now we're going to do a picot, which is a chain 3 and then slip stitch into the first chain of your chain 3 or in the 3rd chain from your hook. We're going to do just a traditional one this time. So insert your hook into that chain and then do a slip stitch. And now I'm going to do 4 more single crochets into the next stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it should look something like this. Then we're going to do another picot. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then slip stitch into that 3rd chain from your hook. Just like this. And then do 4 more single crochets into your sweater. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's how it's starting to look. So cute. Just continue doing this all the way around until you get back to the end. Remember to do the picot, and then between each picot we will be doing 4 single crochet stitches. I think it gives just a cute finished look. It's one of my favorite things to add on to the sweaters that I crochet. I think it just makes it unique and look more finished. Of course, this is totally optional if you don't want to do this. You don't have to, and then maybe you just do a single crochet stitch all the way around just to kind of finish it off that way. So continue doing this, and then I'll meet you around when we get to the end. Basically, all we're going to do is just do another picot right at the end and then slip stitch into our first single crochet. Okay, so I'm almost at the end. I'm going to show you how I end it. So I'm doing 4 more single crochets. 4, and then I'm going to do another picot. And then I have 1 stitch left, so I'm just going to do another single crochet into this stitch. And then I will slip stitch into the top of this single crochet. Just like this. And then fasten off your yarn. Make sure you pull it tight. So let me show you how this looks. This is the bottom of our sweater. Isn't that so pretty? So make sure that you do the same process for each sleeve. So your sleeves can also have that same look. And then once you're done, that's it. Just weave in your ends.